When RimWorld added grab ships, the first thing I wanted to know, are raids against enemy settlements finally worth it?
Look at those pathetic cavemen down there, loading their silly catapult with...
Meet the Long Sufferers, a name that I picked. They're the crew of a spaceship called the Old Torment, a name generated by the game. This was a reload anytime playthrough, so I still had my 3 starter colonists by the time I built this heavily armed gunship full of animal waste. Squirt is a pacifist and a doctor. Mal is a robot expert who smiths all my armor and weapons. And Sail is our Chad pilot, an ex-tournament fighter. He refuses to do most kinds of work.
Kith, I'm headed to the men's room and I'll be needing an attendant, so...
In the past, raiding enemy locations would seem like the perfect late-game challenge as you moved from mere survival to a powerful colony, but it would require a painstaking caravan trip there, and how many colonists could you really spare from your workforce to do that? Transport pods could save you half the trip, but then you still needed to get home afterward. A grav ship base solves all those problems and lets you bring your turrets, transport pods, mortars, hospital, prison, and your entire zoo full of murder animals along for the raid. This was a lot of fun, but honestly it felt pretty overpowered. I had so many turrets, none of the little bases could even hurt us, except the Empire, who were dug in with heavy armor and could last long enough for my own turrets to accidentally friendly fire the heads off my colonists. Then, an enemy mortar shell struck the main chem fuel supply for my ship's power plant, and my entire pelvic floor suddenly tensed in real life because I had over 3,000 chem fuel, all the fuel tanks, and 250 mortar shells on board, so I was pretty sure the entire ship and every colonist was about to get catastrophically wiped. But I guess in the end the ignition only counted as a fire and not an explosion because it just popped my fire foam protection and didn't end up being that big a deal. The massive chem fuel plant that powered all my turrets was always the weak spot of this colony, a symbol of my pride and some would say probably hubris. So obviously I had a kind of perverse curiosity to see it explode and fully annihilate me, and when it didn't do that it was kind of disappointing. Would I recommend grav ship raiding though? The loot ranged from absolutely worthless in the case of tribal factions to 99% whack with the Empire. The one real reason to do this would be to search for legendary weapons. I found 3 unique named revolvers with special traits, all of them in Empire bases, which I didn't even know that legendary weapons had been added to the game before this. The gunfire was so intense from these battles that there were few survivors to capture, but I was able to strip away some usable power armor from enemies before they died and take 1 Praetor-ranked noble captive, but that's hardly worth losing the ability to trade with the Empire, right? You're still probably better off using transport pod gifts to make allies out of the neutral factions, and while there's not really much benefit to wiping out the hostile factions, there's really no reason not to do it, I guess. Honestly, it felt a little too massacre-y for my taste, but you do you. And yes, before anyone comments on it, you're much better off spending your time raiding the more challenging late-game Odyssey elements that have been added, like asteroids and space stations, which have much more valuable loot. That being said, that's how this crew ultimately met their fate. Brannigan style.
How many men did we lose?
All of them.
Well, at least they won't have to mourn each other.
Also, I just want to say thank you so much for helping me hit 1,000 subscribers. It's been an incredible 5 weeks here on YouTube, beyond my wildest dreams. So seriously, thank you guys for wanting to be here.